Today we are taking a look at some lovely watercolors from Jackman's Art Materials in the UK. Founded in 2019, this is a relatively new company that has around 128 colors in their line. At the time of this recording, I believe 84 of those colors are made from single pigments, and the majority of the rest of them are specialty granulating mixes. Every color is formulated to best highlight that color's individual characteristics and ensure optimal flow and re-wet ability. Their tube labels are created in-house to best represent the colors within. They contain the information that you would expect to see on any tube of professional watercolor, such as the pigment numbers, light fastness ratings, and transparency. Jackman sells a number of curated sets, some of which are put together by the company, while others are arranged by other artists. Today we are taking a look at a custom assortment that was sent to me by the company. Please note that this video is not sponsored, though the company sent me the paints to try out. They did so with no strings attached and didn't even ask for a video. As always, I will be giving you my own thoughts throughout the video. Before we dive into the palette, I wanted to take a moment to remind you that World Watercolor Month is just around the corner. World Watercolor Month was founded by Charlie O'Shields over at Doodle Wash. Every July, the community joins together to celebrate our favorite medium. There is a 31-day challenge beginning on July 1st if you'd like to participate with the official prompts. But that is not required to celebrate. Any watercolor artwork you upload to social media in July can be tagged with hashtag World Watercolor Month to share your creations with others who are doing the same. In addition to sharing our passions with others in the community, supporting watercolor artists, and introducing new artists to the medium, another component of World Watercolor Month is raising awareness and funds for children's art programs. Each year, World Watercolor Month fundraises for the International Child Art Foundation with a limited time shop, where 100% of proceeds from limited edition zipper pouches and mugs are donated to ICAF. Be sure to check it out, as you'll likely see many familiar names in the shop along with other World Watercolor Month merch. When the paints arrived, I poured them into a 3D printed palette from Spruce and Squirrel in these teeny tiny little pans. I first swatched them in a new Luchetti sketchbook, which definitely had some unique quirks. If you'd like to see more about the sketchbook, subscribe to the channel and catch that video in the near future. But because this was such an unexpectedly unusual surface, I decided to swatch them again on Arch's cold press paper to get a better feel for the paints. On a rough textured paper, most of these Jackman's watercolors granulate dramatically. On a more standard cold press paper, they show a much softer granulation. We'll talk more about how these paints handle throughout my first painting session with them in this video. For this initial dive into a new watercolor, the other supplies that I am using are ones that I am well acquainted with, including my go-to watercolor sketchbook from Etchr, and later on you'll also see me using Silverwhite brushes that I often use for these more stylized paintings. I was in a sketching kind of mood, so I planned out a spread of great crested Grebes using a Faber-Castell TK 9400 clutch pencil. To have the best foundation that I can for this painting study, I'm using a very simplified grid, just 4 sections in this first sketch, and I'm also evaluating the negative shapes in my references to place the face and the wings in the appropriate locations. When I was looking for an animal species that would allow me to use some of my favorite colors in this palette, I came across great crested Grebes, and I've got to say that I am pretty jealous of most of the rest of the world. This species can be found in Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia, but not in the Americas. They have striking plumage, which becomes even more striking during breeding season. Because they look different in different seasons, I wanted to represent both appearances in this spread. The first sketch in the lower right will be painted with their winter plumage, which features a lighter colored body and a pink bill. The second sketch is a portrait focused on that lovely breeding plumage. During the summer, they sport these elaborate head crests and neck feathers, and their bills are much darker. The third sketch is a profile view of a bird that it appears to just be coming into its summer plumage and still has a little bit of pink on the bill. Finally getting to the painting portion of this video, I started on the leftmost portrait with the color Autumn Foliage. This earthy orange is a lovely alternative to quinacridone burnt orange, made with a transparent PR101 and nickel azo yellow, which is PY150. The breeding plumage then turns dark. Instead of using a flat black though, I opted to try out Nebula, a specialty granulating color made from Potter's Pink and Ultramarine Blue. On its own, this color was not as dark as I needed it to be, so I also added Hematite Genuine to make a dark, inky, granulating violet. Hematite Genuine, made from PBR29, is the only color Jackman sent me that I didn't feel really matched its label. The swatches on their website and the tube itself make it appear like it's a violet iron oxide. Natural hematite stones can either be an earth red violet or blackish in color, so this dark color is not unexpected based on the name alone. However, it is very similar to Winsor & Newton's chromium black and Roman Schmall's iron chromite black, all three of which are made with that same PBR29. Regardless of expectations, I use this mixture of Nebula and Hematite Genuine throughout the entire page whenever I needed a black. If I wanted a more solid black color, I used more hematite, and when I wanted it to be more colorful, I added more of the Nebula. Since Nebula granulates so beautifully, I also used more water whenever I could get away with using lighter values. This same mixture was then later used in diluted washes to create the shadows on the white feathers. Like other handmade paints, Jackman's watercolors are highly liftable, even with these dark colors. This makes them very forgiving for beginners or artists like myself who have shaky hands and rely on being able to correct brushstrokes. This can be a drawback for some artists who paint using a lot of glazes, as washes can disrupt the dried layers below. This is most prominent when using cellulose papers, and I didn't have much trouble at all with lifting on this cotton paper. Jackman's also seems to have a very pleasant working time. Here in the desert, paints often dry so quickly on paper that you risk unintentional blooms if you don't work fast enough. However, at this point of the painting, I had to adjust my camera between the diluted washes on the face and the much darker washes of orange on the neck. In that amount of time, I'd have expected blooms to form on the face when adding more of that wet wash to the neck. But no, the paints continued to work beautifully. I'm not sure how much this would affect painting with this brand in a more humid environment, but if you've done so, be sure to let us know in the comments. In general, though, these paints seem pretty resistant to blooms overall, both in the swatches and during practical painting. My first impressions would lead me to believe that these would be a really good choice if you struggle with unintentional backruns. This final painting will show more of the same that I've already talked about, that these paints are easy to manipulate on the paper and they are not prone to blooms. Normally, I would edit this back and forth type of footage out of a video, but I wanted you to be able to see another example of how much manipulation this paint can handle. In a single layer, I can put down paint, I can lift it up, paint over the same area again, and scrub the edge of the wash off to soften it without the final result being compromised. I added some background splashes to show off a couple more of the specialty granulating colors and show how these paints flow in very wet washes. For the most part, these paints stay where you put them and soften off extremely well. If you are looking for a high flow paint, this isn't it. But if you are looking for a paint that is easy to control, I think this is probably a good one. Thank you so much to Jackman's for sending over these paints for us to look at. I really hope that you enjoyed this first impressions review, and if you've used Jackman's before, I'd love to hear what you think of them. As always, a very special thank you to my patrons for supporting me through my recent marathon of surgeries and recoveries. I'm finally feeling much better, and I'm actually looking forward to life again. Speaking of, you may have also noticed a new addition in this video that has been adding to that whole I'm pretty much loving life vibe. So a quick little shout out to my amazing fiance for being by my side through all of this and for cheering me on to get this video out to you all before the end of the month. I hope to see you during World Watercolor Month this July, and don't forget to take a look at that shop if you'd like to pick yourself up a little something while supporting the arts for children. Until next time, my friends, happy Pride and happy painting.